Boys, those baby, we gotta survive. Yeah, we gotta survive to stay alive. Yeah, to stay alive. You better be ready, or you better be steady. No, you don't be pathetic. We can happen. Boys, you just gotta watch it all. We can happen. Boys, when the backs against the wall. We can happen. Boys, and there's no one left to call. We can happen. Boys, it can happen any minute.
Hello and welcome to episode number 7 of the Prepper Boys podcast. I am your host, Ryan. With me, as always, my co-host, Jordan. Jordan, how's it going?
It's going.
Turn that off.
It is off.
What's new, man? What's new?
Oh, you know. Excuse me. Just work. That's pretty much all I've been doing.
Yeah, same here, man. I just working my fingers to the bone, as they say, right?
You've never done manual labor in your life.
I've done a lot of manual labor. I used to put nets onto grape things for a vineyard that my friend's dad owned.
I don't believe that at all. I think you just saw somebody doing it one day and you're like, I'm going to tell people I did that.
Nope, I only did it one time.
Okay, I can believe that.
And I got enough money to buy a new skateboard. I was 15. So fuck you.
My bad.
What else has been going on, man? Anything fun to talk about?
I'm currently drinking.
Hold on. I gotta take my hat off. I keep bumping my mic with
Yeah,
it.
because I can totally hear your hat.
No, but I keep bumping my mic with my hat. I keep bumping the mic stand.
In a world.
The lures. I said I couldn't decide between listeners and viewers.
God, you're such a dipshit.
Oh, I found a turtle today.
I saw a turtle too. It was a big snapping turtle walking through the parking lot at work.
Nice. I went down. We walked around a lake here in town. They built all this crazy shit there, so we went down there. And then I went walking through the woods, and I found a turtle, and I carried him down to the water.
It turns out it was a tortoise, and they don't swim.
No, it's just a little turtle.
It still could be a tortoise, and it still may not swim.
Well, tortoises come out pretty big. No, tortoises have long-ass necks.
You have a long-ass neck.
This turtle did not. Also, tortoises are always walking around with canes.
That is true. I forgot about that.
And monocles, yeah.
And they're also challenging rabbits to races.
Yep, and they always have like some good advice to give you.
That was just an old man. That was not a turtle.
Nope. The turtle tortoises always play the old man in video games.
So here is a lesson on safety. And you're talking about the turtle and me seeing a turtle today. My coworkers and I were talking about all the wild animals that we have seen at work. And so far, we have an alligator, multiple snakes, lizards, rats, birds, and now we have added a snapping turtle to the list.
Okay, well, I'm gonna
always
one
put
up
your head
story.
on a swivel.
I'm gonna one up your
that.
story. All right, listen to how about this?
All right, do that.
Okay, so my roommate wants me to build this garden for her, right? This garden box, because she wants to plant fucking squash or whatever.
And she's lazy.
And I think it's stupid, but A, I'd like $40, and B, I feel like knowing how to grow food is probably a pretty big part of prepping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I build her this box. I go out, dig up the fucking ground, till it all up, rip all the grass out, rip all the rocks out. Fucking good fucking ground now, right? Build the box, put the fucking weed, what's that weed shit called? The nylon fabric. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So I put that in there, fill the fucking thing, go to the store. I have to get like 8 bags of fucking soil because the boxes are so big. Put it all together, put it in there. She plants the shit. Like a day later, like 2 days later, she's like, oh, I don't think that area gets enough sunlight for...
Jesus.
Motherfucker. So she wants me to move it. So when we moved in, there used to be a shed here. It was a piece of shit shed, and we got rid of it. But behind that shed was just this big-ass pile of bricks. I don't know what the bricks were from or for. They are just this giant pile of bricks back there. Probably 200, 300 bricks in a pile. And so I said, well, then this is what I'm going to do. I'm sick of those fucking bricks. I'm going to get the bricks out of here. And the area that the bricks have been built on is about the same size as the garden box. So I will be able to just... I don't have to dig all the grass up again. You know what I mean? Might have to make it a little bit bigger, but it'll at least still be pretty much the right size. So we're going through all these bricks, and we get like maybe halfway through, and we see like just a little garden snake, you know? No big deal, whatever. But I want to kill it because snakes are actually good. Like snakes like that are good to have in your yard, you know what I mean? Because they'll eat the bugs, and I don't know if they could eat a mouse, but it can eat little shit. So I was like, I don't want to kill it. So every time, though, we would pick up a brick, it would just run back under a different one. So I said, fuck it, we'll just go through all the bricks, and when we get to the bottom, it won't have anywhere to go, and we can figure it out, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So as we're going through, though, we're seeing more and more. And so I was like, what the fuck's happening? So we finally get to the bottom. There's no joke, there was this big, like, it wasn't even a brick, it was like almost like the stepping stones you can put in your yard, you know, like the big square ones. Lifted that up, and there's just like a family of like 9 garden snakes under there, just running all over the place.
I don't know how that one-ups me because I literally just said we found an alligator.
Yeah, but that was
outside.
Before. This time you were just talking about a turtle. I found 9 snakes. So, but here's where it really one-ups you. So I'm trying to catch these snakes. I'm trying to get them out of the yard because I don't want them around us, but I don't want to kill them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could have just done that. I could have just started chopping them in half with the fucking shovel, but I wanted to not do that to them. So instead, I was like, well, fuck, they're too quick. And even though I know that those snakes, like, can garden snakes even actually bite you?
Yeah, I'm sure they can. Anything with a mouth can bite you.
Well, right.
They're not venomous.
Well, I know they're not venomous, but I also don't know that their teeth are actually big enough to penetrate your skin. Because, I mean...
Probably not.
Yeah. So even though I know that, when I pick them up, they snap at me, and it's still, like, just... mentally, I can't get over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck, how am I going to get rid of all these snakes? So then I decide what I can do is just...
eat them like spaghetti.
No, grab them with a rake and just fling them away.
Mm-hmm.
And so I start doing that, and where I'm flinging them is over our fence into our neighbor's yard.
This story can only get better as if your neighbor was out there and you were accidentally flinging them on top of them.
No, they weren't, but I just thought it was funny that if at any point someone had looked, they would have just seen me flinging 9 snakes into my neighbor's yard over the fence. So that's what we did, and then I built the thing, and now, lo and behold, the garden's fucking good. So
nice.
Planted a bunch of... I planted my own watermelon out there. They're sprouting out.
So I would love to do something like that, but our HOA is comprised of nothing but a bunch of bitches.
They won't let you even... You can't even plant in your own yard?
So we're not supposed to do a lot of stuff. People aren't even supposed to park on the road, but they still do, like, long-term parking. So I'm probably going to set up some beehives and some other stuff. And be like, you know what? Fuck you.
Yeah.
You're parking in the road. I'm going to have bees. I want some honey.
I can see an opposition to beehives, but how can you be like, no garden boxes. You can't do it.
Well, we have a meeting soon, so I'm going to go. I basically told my wife that my goal is to be Ron Swanson. I'm going to try to destroy it from within.
Ron Swanson's stupid.
You're stupid.
So sick of that shit.
Did I ever tell you how much I hated you?
I don't care. Jordan, do you know what time it is?
What time is it?
Let's check the doomsday clock.
Let's check the doomsday clock and find out. Time's still...
I already have.
Time's still 11:58. But there's pretty good news going on. So, First of all, we pulled out of the Iran nuclear deal.
Yeah.
I don't-
This is correct.
I don't really know what's going to come of that. Seems like a bad decision. But, who knows? Who knows what'll come of that. And at the same time, North Korea is dismantling a nuclear site. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, but the last I heard, they're also basically saying that talks are off with South Korea and they no longer want to meet with Trump.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, that's been in the news for the last few days. Maybe the last week.
No, not the last week. For sure not the last week.
I mean,
just on Monday.
as in this week. Because tomorrow's Thursday.
Yeah, so then you should have said 2 days ago.
Eat a dick.
Let's see what this says.
North Korea threatens to cancel Trump summit. Kim wants a Donald Trump-John Bolton breakup.
Oh, well, I agree with that because John Bolton's a fucking idiot.
Well, yeah, I mean, he wants to basically destroy the world.
Ugh. Yeah, they need to get that fucking guy out of there for sure. Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. I've also heard too. I've heard some people say that the site that they so first of all they are dismantling it.
Okay.
Says that they've used satellite images to see that they are doing that. But I've also heard some people say, and I don't know how these people have the authority to know these things, but I've also heard that the test site in question was already damaged and couldn't be salvaged.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Who fucking cares? Doesn't matter. It's just a high stakes game with your life in the balance.
With everyone's lives in the balance.
But some news that can actually affect you and you should think about. New data says that hurricanes will continue to get worse.
Yeah, actually, they're saying down here that hurricane season is supposed to be the worst one we've seen in a long time.
Yeah. Says that the numbers indicate the amount of energy Harvey pulled from the ocean, talking about Hurricane Harvey, equaled the amounts of energy it dropped over land in the form of rain, the first time such an equivalence has been documented. So that's cool. Hurricanes will just continue to get worse. That's why I don't live in the south along the ocean. Also, another interesting thing, I don't know if you know this. Did you know that, Oklahoma's obviously having a lot more earthquakes?
Yeah.
But so is Arkansas.
Yeah, I actually heard about that.
Didn't know that it was so much. I actually did some numbers at work the other day and looked at it all. From 1997 to 2007, there were about 170 earthquakes. From 1998 to this year, there have been over 2,200. So,
nice.
That's good, I guess.
You're gonna die.
But part of it isn't really anything. It's just the tectonic plates that were.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's fault lines and stuff running all through Arkansas.
Yeah,
so.
and that's what they're saying is that it's just. And to be fair, it's also we had two really outlier years. I think it was in 2011 and 2012. There were about 700 earthquakes recorded in each of those years.
2011 was the year that I experienced my first one.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. That's cool, I guess. More earthquakes, more hurricanes. What's not to like, you know?
Exactly.
But speaking of all that stuff, that's what we're going to get into today, Jordan.
How you going to get out of this one?
So today we're going to talk about how you are going to get out of just in general things like that. You know, Jordan, we
tuck and roll.
Yeah, we're always pretty confident that nuclear war and things like that are probably pretty low on the list of things to happen.
Yeah.
But earthquakes and hurricanes on the rise. So, Jordan, we finally actually got this fucking supplies checklist finished. And it's on the website.
This is true. It's is it up? I just checked it, and
it'll be up by the time this podcast
coming
is
soon.
up.
Just hold your horses.
Yeah, it'll be up by the time that this podcast is up.
Prove it.
So we're gonna go over it a little bit. We're gonna recap we're gonna have to go over food and water again because food and water is the first thing on this. But then we'll also go through the first aid today
Okay.
because the other two shouldn't take too long to get through since we've already done it. So we've changed things a little bit. We've learned a little bit more. We've updated what we're gonna say for food and water. So just stick in there with us. So the first thing we're gonna go over, Jordan, is food.
Okay.
Okay. So we're gonna talk about canned goods. Canned goods, the staple.
But do you mean tin can goods?
Tin can or mason jar. Whatever you feel most comfortable
Tell me
with.
about it.
All right, so we've already talked about before, meats, vegetables, fruits. And I think what we've talked about for us is you should have 4 different kinds, 3 or 4 different kinds of each, just for your own sake of not eating the same fucking thing over and over again.
Yeah.
So when on our list, we've left those spots blank so you can write in, whatever you want to put in. That's another thing. I see a lot of prep lists and checklists like this where they're like, "Oh, you should have like fucking just focus on like lean beef." And it's like, "Why? What if you don't like lean beef?" Doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, and what if, because there are some people who can't eat red meat.
Right.
So
our whole focus on this is just
to say that guy is a douche.
That guy's a fucking asshole. But so just look for foods that you enjoy and that have, for meats especially, you're going to look for protein. For vegetables, you can have a varied amount. For vegetables and both fruits, you can pick different things that have different vitamin content and mineral content based on whatever.
And so you have it broken down into EDC, 72-hour, 2-week, and self-reliant?
Yes. That's also another thing, too, that's, I think, unique to our checklist. We have stuff that you should have in your everyday carry. How much should you have in your 72-hour? How much should you have in your 2-week? And how much should you have to get to a point where you feel like you're self-reliant? Now, some of these things obviously aren't going to line up.
It's also kind of generalized.
Yeah. Are you going to have, fucking cans of meat in your backpack, like in your go bag? No, you're probably not. But that could be a separate go bag that you have that has other supplies in it that maybe you don't need to have next to you at all times.
Like a specialized food bag.
Right, that you can keep in your car or you can keep in a specific closet in your house that if it's like, fuck, I have to go right now, you can grab it and go.
And you can also modify it. So like if you, under the meats for the EDC, if you want to consider beef jerky, something like that.
Right, exactly.
Or, the Tonka bars that you can see at health food stores. It's bison and cranberry and whatnot.
Right. And then obviously, can you get yourself to a point where you're self-reliant on canned meat? Probably not. But that's something that you can then refer to further on in your list.
You just probably will.
Well, no, Jordan. What I'm saying though is you cannot become self-reliant in a calculable way for this. But what you can do is later on in the list, when you notice, okay, yes, I've got my canning kit, I've got my pressure canner now. Okay, I'm at a point where I feel self-reliant with those things. So some of these things you're just gonna, not have to be a fucking idiot. We can't put everything on a fucking list for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sometimes you got to do the work yourself.
Exactly. And so then also under canned goods, we also have soups, just because that's a good way to get all of those things. You can get meat,
like soup.
Yeah, and you can get meats, vegetables, and some water or broth or whatever all in one can. So we kept soups separate just for those purposes. Next up, though, we have our pantry items. And we've broken that down into the basic food groups for the most part. We have grains. Under grains, we have granola, rice, pasta, cereals.
So you have half a cup per day. What is that based off of?
That is based on not the food pyramid, because the food pyramid's fucking stupid. This was
food square.
Yeah, it's the food octagon. No, that was based on, I don't know what the fuck it was. It was some government like healthy eating thing.
Oh, okay.
Like you should have this to be a healthy self-fulfilled person. And so they say to have half a cup a day of grains, which sounds about right. I looked at a couple diet websites too, of like what should you have. Like what's an appropriate amount to have. Fuck, sorry. And so half a cup of grains is right about where you want to be. So we've gone through granola, rice, pasta, cereals. Those can be any kinds of those. Obviously, by cereals we don't mean fucking Lucky Charms. Should be something that is grain based. So, Wheaties or fucking Cheerios or something.
Cornflakes.
And for rice and pasta, it's the same way. Whatever rice and pasta you're a fan of, have at it. If you feel the need that you're like, oh, rice? Well, I want white rice and brown rice. Well, fucking put the brown rice somewhere else and leave that as white rice, or vice versa. There's a spot at the end of the food section.
Well, brown rice also doesn't keep at nearly as long as white rice either.
I know, but there's going to be some fucking guy who's like, I know it maybe doesn't keep as well, but did you know that brown rice has half the fat content that white rice does? Like some
Keep that
shit.
to yourself, guy.
Yeah, guy. This isn't fucking 6-pack hip hop abs of the apocalypse, okay?
Even though I've got them, I totally have 6-packs.
Yeah, I'm not worried about my hip hop abs in the apocalypse, all right? So at the end of this list is a section titled comfort items, and that's really more for like candy and stuff like that you're like, I would just like to have these things. But if you decide that I need 3 different kinds of rice, then fucking put that down there. I'm not your fucking dad. Do it yourself. Dairy. Now, dairy is one of the more controversial parts of a checklist. Maybe not controversial, but the hardest. Would you agree?
I mean, yeah. I'm allergic to milk, so I can't necessarily have too much to say on this.
Yeah. Well, obviously you can't fucking bring milk into your bunker for very long. But so we've just
Unless you got a cow or a goat.
You're a fucking cow goat.
You're a goat.
Daily suggestions are 3 servings per day. So we've got powdered milk, condensed milk, and canned cheese on there.
You can also get canned butter as well. But
yes.
You know what? We're not your dad. Write it down yourself.
But here's another thing. So would ghee fall into this category of dairy, or would that be a fat/oil?
It would be more of a oil because it is actually sans milk fats.
All right. Well, I mean,
it's basically clarified butter.
All right.
Or
Well,
it is.
I want to throw this out to you guys really quick on this. Ghee is becoming the new coconut oil, from what I've seen.
My mom and my dad have been using it for years. I've actually started in the last couple. It's great.
I'm not debating that it's good.
I know.
But I had honestly never really heard about it before you and I talked about it a couple episodes back. I don't know. Maybe it's one of the things every time you get a new car, you'll see that car fucking everywhere because you're just paying attention to it. So maybe it's a similar thing happening here. But I have seen ghee show up in all sorts of fucking articles and shit now. People talking about how it's the fucking wonder food. So if ghee is going to be essential to your prep supplies, I would suggest you start trying to find that shit now. Because otherwise, I am predicting a massive price hike in the cost of ghee.
Or just buy a lot of unsalted butter and make it yourself.
Either way. All right, let's move on to proteins then. Approximately 50 grams per day is what you're supposed to have. Now, obviously, some of that will be taken care of by the meats, your canned meats that we've listed earlier. But down here, we also have beans, beef jerky, peanut butter, nuts, and snack bars. And so those are all different ways that you can load up on your proteins.
And beef jerky being a dried meat, I'm sure that people at home can realize that they can list cured meats on there as well. They don't have to go with just beef jerky.
Right, yeah. Beef jerky is just kind of that stand-in for like just meat you can have that's ready to go whenever.
I got a salami. I got a pastrami.
Yeah, and snack bars can be kind of whatever you want. I would stay away from going after like protein snack bars just because I don't think they hold up very well. But like a granola bar or a Nutri-Grain bar would be fine. You can find, and they have, I mean, go to any prepper's website and you can find a decent snack bar.
Like you can also DIY it. Get
Yeah.
some honey or some molasses and some grains and
do
make
that
that shit
too.
yourself.
Especially if you bond it with honey, that shit's never going to go bad. And then in our fats and oils, we've got cooking oil, canned butter, and coconut oil.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. So those are just some different things, and those have a lot of different purposes, either for cooking or another really good example is what you just said, Jordan. So if you were to go through this list, maybe you want to factor in what your self-reliant part goes into. Could be an extra stock of granola, an extra stock of nuts, and then an extra stock of coconut oil or honey, which we have later on in here. And you can mix those things together to make bars, while you're...
Yeah. Same thing with the fats and stuff.
Exactly.
And your beef makes some pemmican.
Right. So those are all just, different aspects of trying to get through whatever you're trying to get through. Under salts and sugars, it's supposed to be 5 grams of salt per day and 25 grams of sugar per day. Now, salts, I think, are one of the more overlooked things in these situations. Especially if it's, I mean, if you're in a situation where, like, a hurricane, for example, right? Where it's hot as fucking hell and you're, like, trying to outlast this shit. Salt, you're going to start to run out of, like, natural salt reserves in your body pretty quickly. So having a supply of salt that you can mix in with food is pretty important. Salt's pretty critical to staying alive, actually.
Also, be sure that if you are doing your own canning to have pickling/canning salt around, because using iodized salt will make everything cloudy and unappealing.
So you could throw that into other spots on this list. But do you remember how that woman died from, she was trying to win like an Xbox or something? Or I think
drinking like 5 gallons of water at one time.
Right. So are you aware of how that actually kills you?
Yeah, it flushes your body of all the salt.
Well, I don't know that it flushes, but it dilutes the salt content of your blood. So
flushing meaning you're pissing it out.
Yeah, it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
So salt is fucking critical to you staying alive, like absolutely necessary.
It's kind of one of those things. You don't want too much of it. You don't want too little of it.
Right, but it's pretty hard to eat to have too much salt in your body. Like, you've got to really fucking try. So just have it. And also,
unless you're an old person with heart problems.
That's true. But also just have it because it'll make the other foods that you have taste better. It'll make some of that shit more palatable. We also have granulated sugar and then honey molasses. Honey and molasses have usually pretty high sugar content. And they're just pretty versatile. You can do a lot of different stuff with them. We've already talked about that. And then we have emergency items like ration bars, MREs, and freeze-dried foods. So those would be the sort of things that you actually want to keep in your everyday carry.
Your everyday, your 72-hour, and your 2-week. The self-reliant, I mean, yeah, sure, you can probably throw it in there, but especially the freeze-dried and the MREs, I mean, you got such a long shelf life.
Right. Well, and that's why I'm saying that those are good to actually keep in an EDC bag.
Oh, yeah,
because
so you don't have to use your other stuff, yeah.
And also, they weigh less, and they're not gonna go bad. Like,
yeah,
I don't know that you really want to be carrying around like a can of Dinty Moore or some shit all day, but like a ration bar is no big deal. Just throw it in there; it's not a big deal.
Yeah, and anytime like we go on I say road trips, but go to visit family and stuff for holidays. We always keep MREs and stuff like that in the car because you never know when you're going to be going through Arkansas and stuck in traffic for 5 hours.
Exactly.
Been there, done that.
And so then the other really cool thing I feel about this list, which should be important to note, that so when we say 72 hours of meat canned goods, that means just the meat canned goods. Do you know what I mean? So
You're
you
really
should have
obsessed with meat.
Well, it's just the first one on the list. So when you're doing your 72-hour preps and you're doing that part of the checklist, that means you should have enough meat to last you 72 hours, and then enough vegetables to last you 72 hours, and enough fruits to last you 72 hours.
And also take into account if you have more than one person, you need to up what you have on there.
No, that's not true. We should have fucking said this earlier.
Yes, you do.
But this list is specifically for one person. This list is not for enough meats for all of your family for 72 hours. This is
And that's
enough.
what I was saying. So if you have two people, you just double everything.
No, don't double. Just get a second list.
No, just double it.
No, have a list per person. It's easier to do it that way. It also gives you more room to list other things if there's more specific shit you want to have. Now, obviously, some of this stuff, this one's harder because if you go down a little bit further in the food section, we have like cutlery and cookware and stuff. Do you need a ton of that do you need a list of that for everybody? No. But so just keep that in mind that these lists are designed for one person. But as I was trying to say, if you've got all of your things listed for 72 hours and then you've also got MREs and ration bars for 72 hours and freeze dried for 72 hours, then that's not 72 hours. You know what I mean? That's now 4 days worth of supply, or I'm sorry, 12 days worth of supplies that you have. So it's this list over preps you. 100% it over preps you. But you can't really be too prepared for this. You know what I mean? So that's kind of why it was designed this way. And then in our miscellaneous foods, we have broth, just any kind of bouillon, spaghetti sauce, oats, flour, spices, yeast, baking powder, baking soda, and vinegar. And those are just things, stock those things as you need them. But that's basically going to be everything you kind of need at a base level.
Very nice.
So that's just the food section of it. Now we're going to move into the kitchen supplies. For kitchen supplies, just this one's pretty basic. Cutlery, cookware, dishware. Forks, spoons, knives, spatulas, tongs. Make sure you have a can opener. Make sure you have some nice storage containers that if you need to fucking put something in some Tupperware, you can do that. Or maybe that's just also, make sure that if you're going to do oats or any kind of grain like that, have a container to put that shit in. Don't think that your bag of oats is going to last for forever. Put it in a fucking thing. What are you thinking about? And then I would also too, for all of this stuff, including your plates, your bowls, your cups, I would tend to go towards metal versus plastic's probably fine for some of this stuff, but I would stick away from glass or like ceramic, like breakable shit.
And let me chat on this food with this glass fork.
Well, no, but I mean like glass bowls or plates.
I know.
So, yeah, fucking pay attention to all that shit. And then moving down further, then we've got a whole other page that's just for comfort items. And that's just shit that you're like, I'm going to want this stuff. Or maybe we totally overlooked something. Or maybe there's something where you decide these are the sort of meals that I'm going to have every day. So you decide that you need, like, I don't know, cilantro is fucking imperative to your survival or whatever it is. Or maybe you have a disease that you're like, I need this food more specifically. Throw it fucking in there. We can't do everything for you.
And we won't.
So figure it out yourself.
Yeah, Dad.
All right. Jordan, you read the water section.
Oh, what are in the water section?
I can't just talk for an hour.
I don't want to. So with water, it's kind of along the same principle. You have your EDC, your 72 hour, your 2 week self reliant, yada yada yada. We've got a gallon per day per person bottled water. For prepping for a hurricane, which that season is starting soon. Even though we are currently canning water, we're still purchasing bottled water, and we're starting now just because we saw last year that when we knew bad weather was coming, we started getting stuff about a week before it was supposed to get here. And then within 3 days of us doing that, it just all hell broke loose. And so it's always make sure you have water on hand. Bottled water is usually the easiest if you're doing it now. Having containers to be able to carry the water if you are ever in a situation like a WROL or shit hit the fan. You'd be able to carry water if you're getting it from some sort of water source away from your wherever you're bugging in at or bugging out at. Water bottles, same sort of idea. You have it. We would, whenever the hurricane was coming last year, and we were trying to get everything put together to get ready just in case, we took every Nalgene in the house and just filled it up because why not? You can just pour it out later if you don't use it. Having some sort of water filtration system. Also, and kind of below it, which ties into it, is a purifier straw like the Life straws, and there's some other ones out there which I don't know if I would trust any of those unless they're tried and true. That's why I usually try to stick with the name brand stuff that we know of.
Yeah, and also just to add a little addendum to purifier straws, what you were talking about, we are going to put the prep list up for you guys to download so that you can just access it. But then we're also going to, underneath that link, we're going to list what we personally have or trust in, believe in, I guess. I don't know. Well, the products that we know to be pretty good. So if you're somebody like me who really just wants to be told what to buy, you can just go through those Amazon links, put them in your cart, and buy them as you need them. So if you're like, I don't really know what kind of purifier straw I should get, or I don't know what kind of water bottle is best for this, we'll have some links up there that you guys can go through. And they're through our affiliate program, so it helps you guys find stuff easier, and it helps us keep the show going.
So, and you need to have ways other than the systems to purify your water, so iodine tablets and other sorts of water purification tablets and bleach. I don't know, I can't remember the ratio right off the top of my head, but it's a certain amount of bleach to a certain amount of water. Like it's like what, a teaspoon for every 5 gallons or something? No, it's probably not even a teaspoon. It's probably way less than that. But somewhere in there, you can add that to the water to sterilize it, and it's safe enough to drink. You also need water for cleaning, which that's another thing, cleaning and cooking. I don't think a lot of people really think about, and they only have water on hand to drink. So you need containers for your cleaning water, which, you still want to have it, fairly clean. You don't want to just like get it from the lake and use it right then. So you're still going to want to have it purified. Same thing with the cooking. Though boil, just make sure you don't have rocks and sand and other shit in it. You can boil it and sterilize it and save it for cooking, and also some sort of sealable containers to use. So, rain collection as well. I know there's a lot of places that, sell little kits that you can hook up to your gutters, and you can DIY that as well. And one thing that we have listed on here, or I guess 2 things, are disinfectant wipes and hand sanitizer. It's listed underwater, but it is still kind of imperative for that because you want to have some sort of cleanliness, some sort of sanitation and hygiene. And those are always good to have on hand. Though the alcohol will eventually evaporate and these things will be rendered useless, it's still good to have on hand for if you need it now or soon.
Yeah, and that's why they're obviously not water-based, but that's why they're just under the cleaning section, just a little bit of an extra way to clean some stuff that doesn't rely on water. And yeah, like Jordan said, remember, that's why you have it broken down this way, is a lot of prep sites just say, oh, you need a gallon of water per day per person. but they don't factor in the amount of water that you need for cooking and cleaning purposes. So that's why we have them broken down like that. So realistically, you need 2 gallons per day per person for those different purposes. You don't want to get into a situation where you're like, oh, I've got a gallon, I'm fine. And then you're like, oh, fuck, I forgot I have to cook shit, clean shit. Speaking of cleaning, next section is first aid. So the first aid items are, they're broken down into preventing and treating. So we'll start with preventing, and the first is hygiene. So we have hand soap, hand sanitizer, toothbrush, toothpaste, dental floss, baby powder, washcloths, tampons, toilet paper, cotton swabs, hydrogen peroxide, disinfectant wipes again, rubbing alcohol, shampoo, and deodorant. And then there's a few spots underneath it for anything that you might in particular like for yourself. But these are just basic hygiene things. Even if, like, I've mentioned this 100 times and I'll keep mentioning it, even if you're like a guy and you don't need tampons, and tampons also interchangeable with maxi pads, whatever you fucking floats your boat. Even if you're somebody who doesn't use those things, they're still a commodity. And
Oh yeah.
and also tampons can be stuck in. I was talking about this with a friend at work who used to be in the Army. They carry tampons because he can stick them in bullet holes.
Yeah, but that's like an emergency use. It's still better to have some sort of hemostatic agent, and
it is, but it's a thing. They have other uses.
Stuff in there.
They have other uses. And a maxi pad is essentially just a fucking scented gauze pad.
Not necessarily.
It's
It's not something that you're going to be able to wound stuff with.
No, but it would be enough that if you I got cut up, I can throw one on while I get other shit together or find whatever I need. So, and you can always trade them. So I think that's an important thing to have.
Just don't use them before you trade them.
Yes, just nobody wants to use tampons. And also under prevent, we have tools. Nail clippers, nail file, scissors, bobby pins, hair ties, hand towels, bath towels, tweezers, contact stuff for, either a case or solution. Eyeglass repair kit is an overlooked thing. If you need glasses, you're going to fucking want an eyeglass repair kit. Comb, brush, shaving kit, thermometer, small bottles, condoms. The last thing you need is another fucking mouth to feed.
Well, not just that, but the condoms can be used to help waterproof stuff.
Yeah. There's a lot of uses. A lot of these things have other uses. Like nail clippers or nail files can be used for a lot of different things.
Trimming little twigs and whatnot to make some kindling for fire starter.
The scissors that I have listed here are supposed to be like hair trimming scissors, but I mean, it's just as applicable to use them for something else as well. And really, just all of this stuff, it's like, yeah, some of this stuff might come off as a bit of luxury stuff. Is it maybe your top priority? Probably not, but also you can buy like a fucking travel grooming set that has all of this stuff for like $20. Yeah. And like when push comes to shove, you're going to be glad that you have some of this shit. So just fucking do it. Also, like, dude, like if you have like long nails and you're fucking gross and like you just don't feel good, it's going to fucking impact shit. This stuff is just as important. So, and then for health purposes under prevent, we have vitamins, lotion, sunscreen, and lip balm. We've talked about... Sorry, started to burp. We've talked about Survivor in the past, which still having pretty good results with. What was the big one? Lasted for 10 years, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's just no reason not to have this stuff. And the vitamins will also tie into anything that you're not getting from your food stores. The vitamins will help kind of cover that up. And it'll keep you from developing some shit you really don't want to get. And then lotion, sunscreen, and lip balm, I mean, are pretty apparent what you need those for. So don't forget them because they could come in handy. For treatment, we have bandages. We've listed pretty much every kind of bandage. Just what were you going to say?
I was going to say, if you have allergies, make sure that you check if the bandages that you're getting, that the adhesive in you mesh well. I'm allergic to a specific brand, so I always have to make sure that if I use anything, it's not those.
Yeah, and I don't know what you're fucking allergic to, so write your own down,
Exactly.
So we've got Band-Aids, triangle bandages, finger, butterfly bandages, gauze pad, gauze roll, trauma pads. moleskin, alcohol wipes again, liquid stitches, medical tape, tourniquet, and blood clotting. Any kind of blood clotting agent. The one that we listed was Quick Clot on here.
Quick Clot is kind of like the Kleenex of hemostatic agents.
Yeah, it's just I mean fucking what is I looked up whatever the generic name of Quick Clot is, and it's like I'm not gonna fucking write it down. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's actually a natural, or I can't remember. I think it's a natural ingredient, but there are other brands. Celux is another big one.
Well, if any of them want to fucking write me a letter about how we're not being fair, save it, because I don't care. I wrote Quick Clot because that's what people know.
He doesn't care.
I don't. And then also you have your topical agents: burn cream, antifungal cream, antibiotic cream, rash, sting bite, oral pain. Could be. We've talked about this before. The only thing I ever think about is that scene in Castaway where Tom Hanks is busting his tooth out.
Yeah.
Yeast infection cream and hemorrhoid cream. Now, yeast infection, not only vaginas get yeast infections.
Yep,
So-
it's called jock itch.
Yep. It's also called. Well, I'm sure you could get a yeast infection in your eye. Babies get thrush, which is a yeast infection of the mouth.
I
So
listen to Rush.
just keep all that stuff on hand. Even if you never end up using it, you can trade it, or maybe we'll run to somebody who does. Then we have all your different medicines: aspirin, ibuprofen, acetaminophen, antihistamine, antibiotics, anti-constipation, anti-diarrhea, menstrual relief, antacids, charcoal tablets, cough medicine, cough drops, eye drops, nausea medicine, decongestants, sinus medication, nasal spray, and ear drops. Under that, we've got a list for any prescriptions you might have that you want to put down.
Send them our way.
But yeah, so, well, let's go through the net. Well, no, I'm going to just say it now. A lot of this stuff that we've listed, you can buy just pre-assembled first aid kits and get most of it. You can also get pre-assembled medicine kits on Amazon. Well, those will be listed as well. That'll have most of the things you need, but also you probably need to get 2 of them that will have complementary items to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So keep that stuff in mind. I certainly wouldn't just say, "Oh, I'll just get a first aid kit and then I'll be fine." Now, some of them might. If you want to drop $300 on a first aid kit, yeah, you're gonna get everything that you need here. But also just make sure to go through that list of what it has and make sure that you're stocked with enough things. Because a lot of those, they like to list themselves as like a 500 item first aid kit, and then it's 400 bandages.
And 2 Advil.
Yeah, so check that shit out. And a way you could do that too is if you're a family of 4, buy 4 separate first aid kits made by different brands that have different things in them, and you'll have more than enough shit to keep you through. Or rob an EMT truck. Could do that
But
too.
only when the shit hits the fan.
Yeah. And then we also have utensils listed under treatment. Now, how much of this stuff you want to have, I don't know, is up to you. I think it's worth listing it just because these are some things that you should know about. But do you need forceps? Is that like a super needed thing for your life? It might not be, but, you know.
Once again, these things work for multiple, kits or whatever. For fishing, forceps are always great to remove hooks.
Yep. And also we have a sewing kit and sutures listed on your utensils part of the treatment. Those can also be used for like repairing clothes, or any number of things. So it's worth checking this stuff out. There's also like surgical gloves and surgical masks listed. Those are, I mean, not just for operating on people and when they're sick. Those have other uses as well. So yeah, look through that list and just kind of see the things that you think that you'll need. If you don't need them, then maybe don't worry about it. Or get them. Because here's the thing. I know that it's fucking not real, but what happens in every fucking show where people are trying to survive you know, a without rule of law type world. There's always someone who gets sick or breaks a leg or is pregnant and they need a doctor. And what does the doctor always say, Jordan?
Forget about it.
No. He says, I could do that, but I need some supplies. I don't have the right supplies.
They usually always need antibiotics.
Yeah. They always ask for antibiotics, or they always say, I could do it, but I need forceps, or I need this. And what always happens? Someone in the back pipes up, oh, there's an old abandoned hospital down the road. I saw one a couple miles back. We could run and get some. And then
everybody dies.
And the doctor makes a list, and they take the list to the store to find the shit. Skip all that and just have it in a bag already. So that's the parts that we're gonna go over today. We'll go over some more stuff next time. Next time we'll go over energy, and we'll go over. Hold on, this is taking forever to load. We'll go over the energy, and we'll go over protection. We're gonna save those because protection's gonna be a long one. It's gonna be very intensive.
And it may not be as well.
But it probably will be. But like I said, you can get the list right now on prepperboys.com. So you can download it. It'll be uploaded as a PDF. You can download that boy. Now there's a lot of blank pages in here, Jordan. Have you noticed that?
Yes, I have.
Now those blank pages are when you go to print the PDF, if you check the booklet setting, it will check you want to check the booklet and then the two-sided option.
Yeah.
And it'll print it all into a nice little booklet that you can just put together and carry around. I considered, could we make this like a book that we could offer to people to buy for a couple dollars? No, we can't do that. It would be...
Nor do we want to.
We want to. We would like to, but not... We can't do it at a price
point. That's not what you said yesterday.
We can't do it at a price point where we feel comfortable about asking you guys to pay for it. Because it would be like the cheapest we could do it would be for like $6. And it's just that's kind of a pain in the ass for people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just download this PDF, print it as under the booklet setting and as two-sided pages, and it'll print into a nice little booklet. And so that's why the blank pages are in there, just to make it the booklet itself make sense a little bit more. And then also you can just scribble little things in there. Draw a little map or something. Draw a little map or some guy, whatever you want to do.
A pirate treasure map.
Yeah, a treasure map to all the medical supplies you'll need.
Just don't leave it laying around if you actually do that.
Yeah. And then also I'm also working on two other parts for this guide. One is just what to know in certain knowing what to do in certain situations, and then another is just going to be like a general little booklet about specific little skills and training. So what's the proper way to boil water, or how much chlorine should you put into water, or bleach, I mean, to make it safe to drink, all that stuff. So the whole thing, when it's finally all done and finished, it'll just be like a nice little resource that you can use, and it'll have everything in there, so that if you're like, fuck, I didn't look up how to properly stitch a wound, that'll be in there, and you can just figure it out. And then the first part of it, with the preparation part of the guide, will just be stuff that kind of just gets you thinking about what you need to know and what you should know. And it also has some resources in there, like phone numbers for government agencies and stuff like that if shit gets real bad. Because that's the problem, dude. We're all super reliant on technology. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous about how fucked people are if there's ever like some sort of grid down situation.
Yeah, any kind of power outage, or even just like your internet being down, and you're like, fuck. How do I
Yeah.
make macaroni? So we've got a bunch of different things in there that you can just
And these
find
are
it.
all situations that still happen. I mean, you may think like, oh, power outage, whatever. Like, I mean, a bad storm coming through, you could be out for anywhere from, 20 minutes to 3 weeks.
Yep. And so, does this guide cover absolutely everything? No, but all the information that I got either through the CDC website or another government approved website, sort of how to prepare for things like that. Ready.gov I used a
Yeah,
lot.
as with everything, don't take our word for it. Research, look at it yourself, because you never know whenever you may discover something we missed, or there's shit out there that could fuck you up if you're allergic to it, and we have it on here and we don't fucking know if you are. So we're not your dads.
We're not your dads. Self-accountability is important. If you do see something that you say, hey, this really should be in the list, or something that you maybe think is wrong, you can email us at prepperboys@gmail.com, and we can
And I'll
check
give you
that out.
Ryan's phone number.
And yes, Jordan will give you my phone number, and you can call me. We use that process of going through him just to verify that you're actually angry.
Yeah, we don't want happy people calling. We
Well, I
only want
don't.
pissed off people.
I only like anger. But speaking of the email, Jordan, do you know what time it is?
What time is it?
It's time for
Listener email.
listener email. Now, we don't really have a lot of emails in the inbox.
That was a fast segment.
Mainly because I've just gotten rid of all the fucking nonsense. But Jordan, I think that you've been talking to a few people on Instagram, correct?
That I have.
Okay, well tell us what the fuck they said.
Yeah. We've got a few people that we're talking to on Instagram about possibly coming on and being guests. There are aspects of prepping and survival that are often overlooked. They're not romanticized in the movies, in the books, in the television shows, yada yada yada. And so we kind of want to go over that stuff. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, we have pretty good reception from what I understand. We are losing a lot of followers on Instagram due to bots that have followed us that I have not blocked, because some of them are a little tricky. And so if you're listening to this and you don't follow us on Instagram, do it.
And also,
Contact us.
Sorry, fuck, I cut you off. I'm so sorry.
It's okay, man. It's okay. I think I can deal with it.
Finish what you were gonna say.
No, I'm done. I'm done now.
Well,
Fucking done.
yeah, follow us on Instagram and follow us on Facebook as well. And also, I didn't realize this, but if you do listen to the podcast and you like it, even if you don't like it, even if you think it's the fucking worst, please go to iTunes and leave us a rating, because that actually really does help other people see the podcast. Even if it's bad, it's still...
Go ahead and rate it 5 stars.
Or even if you just rate it 1 star and you say this is shit, it will still... Whatever the way iTunes algorithm is, it actually does help us. So, let us know, man. You know?
Or catch us on Podbean app through the Play Store if you're an Android user.
You can do that. Yep, you can do that too. Or you can always just pull your phone out and type in...
Throw it in a puddle.
Type in prepperboys.com and play it right through our website.
Prepper Boys!
All right, Jordan. So I think that's pretty much most of the show. It's coming to that time.
Let's wrap this up.
So let's wrap this up. What do we have to talk about? What did we learn today?
We learned that North Korea is basically a whiny little bitch.
Fair enough. But also, John Bolton is fucking crazy.
Yeah, dude is nuts. I mean, he basically wants to destroy everything. Sorry if there's any John Bolton fans out there.
Yeah, sorry if John Bolton's mom is listening, but your son's a piece of shit.
Let's not get confused with Michael Bolton, even though his music is terrible. Whenever he does something comedic, it is gold.
And sorry if you're John Bolton's son or daughter. Your dad's a fucking piece of shit, bro.
Yeah, and we're not your dads, but, we'd adopt you just to get you out of that fucking household.
We would. I would make a personal checklist for John Bolton's children just to get them out of that fucking hellhole that they are in with their dad.
Yeah.
What else did we learn today?
That if you fart and burp at the same time, it does not smell or taste good.
I am not leaving that in. What else did we learn today?
We learned about food and water.
And we learned that you can get the Prepper Boys checklist right now on our website at prepperboys.com.
Do it.
And it's free, dude.
What?
You're living in a world where you have unlimited data. Just fucking download it.
We are so generous that we are not going to go through all the steps that are required in order to sell something. So our laziness equals your savings.
Well, and also too, there's so many lists. Like you'll search for like prepping lists, and then you'll go to it, and it's like, just give us your email, and we'll send it to you.
The only reason to ever pay for anything like this is if it comes in some sort of hard copy that is archival quality or laminated that you can keep in like a bug out bag or something. Yeah. So don't ever pay for something like this.
Yeah, and we would do that for you guys, but it doesn't feel right to charge you for a list that we just basically put together by reading ready.gov.
And we're lazy.
It's not even about laziness. It's just like
speak for yourself.
To me, it just feels not cool. If enough people
it is a jerk move.
Yeah, I feel like it's just like, dude, like, I mean, it's just as easy to give it to you guys for free, and it could help a lot of people as they start to get ready for their preps. So check it out, and yeah, print them all out and laminate them. Who gives a fuck?
And also read the descriptions for the episodes, because I've noticed that they are pretty funny.
Yes, I'm hilarious.
You were a stand-up comedian
for a little while. I did open for Joe DeRosa and Creed Bratton.
That is true.
But what do I know about comedy?
Apparently not much if you're not doing it anymore.
Anyways, that's going to do it for this episode of the Prepper Boys podcast. Remember to rate us on iTunes.
In a world.
Why do you keep saying that?
In a world.
I don't know what that means.
It's a movie trailer thing.
Remember to like us on iTunes. Remember to leave us reviews. Remember to follow us on Instagram. What's our Instagram?
Prepper Boys.
Okay, and remember to follow us on Twitter at Prepper Boys. And remember to check us out on Facebook. Just search Prepper Boys Podcast. Send us an email if you want. You can contact us through the Facebook page, or you can also send us an email to prepperboys@gmail.com. Jordan, any parting words this time?
In a world.
Prepper Boys, dudes, baby, we gotta survive. Yeah, we gotta survive to stay alive. Yeah, to stay alive. You better be ready, or you better be steady. No, you don't be pathetic. It can happen. Prepper Boys, you just gotta watch it all. It can happen. Prepper Boys, when the backs against the wall. It can happen. Prepper Boys, when there's no one left to call. It can happen. Prepper Boys, it can happen any minute.